Hi, Paul Sackis, Good News Broadcast. Actually, we're up in Wilton, Connecticut, and we're with one of the honorees, Global Leadership Award dinner, and won the Global Award winner, David Verklin. Hi, David. How are you?
Nice to see you.
Nice
Welcome
to see you.
Wilton.
Well, okay. Well, we like it up here, and I want to congratulate you for winning the Global Leadership Award.
Thank you so much. I'm really honored by it. We had a great dinner and a big celebration, beautiful event. It was really great.
Okay, tell us a little bit about, well, let's talk a little bit about your professional background, which led, since it was the marketing committee that selected the winner of the Global Leadership, we want to know a little bit about your marketing background. You have a major company in the world called Aegis Media, and tell us a little bit about, geez, now we can feel like we're in New York with a beeping sound. We do have a lot of these young kids. We've allowed them to walk in the back, and they're kind of making a whole show out of this. But you know, show business, it is what it is. This is reality television. Let's talk seriously about a very, very powerful company.
Thank you very much. I run a company called Aegis Media Americas, which is one of the world's largest buyers of advertising time and space. So there's 10 companies in the world that buy advertising time and space, and we're about the 4th largest in the United States. So that's really what I do. I'm in the advertising business, and I help clients, about 500 different clients, from Procter & Gamble to Pfizer to companies like Papa John's Pizza or Adidas or Reebok, reach their markets.
Okay, media buying. Actually, you don't know this, but Good News Broadcast, the senior company is called Milestone Broadcast. We started 23 years ago buying media, representing media in the multicultural world. So the Chinese put me in business a long time ago, and I have represented almost all the Asian media, European American media over the years. So I know a little bit about media buying is what I want to say. In fact, Mike Kubin is a friend.
Oh, Mike Kubin from Invidi.
Right,
yes.
And when the old days was Corinthian.
Yes.
And so I know him for 20 years because I was going to help. I think we even helped him with the one media buy and so on. What actually is media buying?
Well, if you think about it, there's kind of, when you look at television, there's kind of two parts of a television commercial. There are the people that make the ads, that create the ads, the creative side of the business, and then there's guys like me that decide where that commercial should be, that put it on that network, that negotiate the price with it, that make sure it's managed, and effectively manage and deploy a client's budget. So that's what I'm in. As well as we have some companies that build websites and that do search engine optimization and other things, but mainly we plan and buy advertising time and space.
Okay. Now, when you're in the process of buying time and space, you want to put it in a what they call a clear environment. You want to put it into an environment that people will then thusly remember. So, in other words, if a horn is buzzing all the time, you might not put the ad next to the buzzing horn, right?
It's an amazing interview we're doing, I must say. I can't wait to see the sound on this interview. It is really something.
We're not in New York. We came up to the country, and
it's really a test of concentration, isn't it?
Well, I think this is sort of a little bit what it's all about.
Yep.
You're, to get somebody's attention in the world that is so frenetic, and so many channels and so many ways that people can spend their time, to get a message in the right place. Now, that is what you guys do, though. That is why somebody would come to you, because anybody can, in essence, go out and buy the media. You just call up the stations. But now to buy it in bulk, to get better pricing, to get the right positioning, to be at the front of the show, to be on the right-hand side of a piece of print, all these little tricks that you learn after a zillion years of mistakes, usually. Right?
Absolutely. I mean, from now on, for any of you out there that have never seen or heard about media planning and buying, from now on, next time you see an ad, there's a guy like me with a company like mine who made a specific scientific effort to put that ad in that location. There's an enormous amount of science to what I do. We have a large database and analytics business. I mean, we've reached the point now where we can look at enough sales data and use what's called regression analysis with marketing data, where I can tell you exactly how much macaroni and cheese that flight of television commercials actually sold. That's how sophisticated our business has become.
And in that regard, I know, since we did a lot of research as well into the multicultural, in fact, we did the Bible, they call it, of multicultural marketing, because I knew that the media buyers could not buy the ethnic media unless they had the results. I'm looking right now here, marketing, management, analytics.
That's our company.
That's your company, and you have quite a few companies. without the numbers, I guess you could say, it makes a difficult position for a media company, a media decision maker in a corporate, a Pfizer or wherever, to make a decision on, is this the right thing?
Yeah, I think so. I think the other thing that we've tried to do, and I think probably attracted to the attention of the UJA, is the media can also be a real force for change and for good. Our company has tried to use, as I said, we're about the 5th largest buyer of advertising time and space in the United States, and we've tried to use some of that power to do some good stuff, to make sure what's on television maybe is better for our kids to watch. Our company's been really involved in an effort there with what's called the Family Friendly Forum to bring in good programs that are kind of family oriented. We've tried to be a force for change for multicultural media and for bringing in kind of diversity into the advertising business, which isn't as diverse as it should be. So I think that's the other thing that I'm real proud of my company. But I'd like to think we're a company with a soul.
Well, you are a company, and you personally are a man with a soul. And let's get to the serious part now. Actually, now focus in on this. No matter what those kids do behind us, if they do it, I think they're exhausted now. They've overdone it with jumping jacks or whatever that they were so desiring to do. So, which meant, did you focus on us, or were you focusing on the people in the back? Okay, on us. All right. Well, that's good. So, but now, we're here. This was the catalog that was brochure that was handed out to everybody, and there's a lot of wonderful pages, a lot of support for you personally, and actually, in a short amount of time, you got a good flavor and sense of who you were. I know by far myself, and so I really wanted to come up and see you, and because of this, so let's go to the serious side of David, because that's the family and the actually here it says congratulations to David, and it says a philanthropist and a man of many qualities. Okay, here it goes, and they have under here philanthropist. Okay, so it says P for parent. Okay, I know that actually was the very, very impressive. You had your wife there, and you had your three of your kids.
Two of my 3 kids, and one of my sons brought his best friend.
Okay.
Yes.
So what do you think? Family is it?
Oh, it's really special. If you we're at the dinner, you remember one of the things that's been neat is I carry 2 stones in my pocket every day. For those of you who are there, you'll see this. I carry these in my pocket every day. The one's a little stone that says love, and I got that from my son. And then I got this other little stone from my daughter, who you may remember was there, 9 years old, Catherine, which is about pray. And so her advice is to pray every day, and my son's advice is to love every day. And I keep these stones in my pocket every day of the year, and it reminds me what great kids I have.
History buff. That's the H.
Love history. It's my favorite subject. I'm off on an interesting trip here next Saturday. I'm off with my 2 sons, 18-year-old and 15-year-old, and we're going to tour the Normandy battlefield together. So That's going to be neat. So we're on our way to Paris next week. The 3 of us are going to see Paris, first time for my 2 sons, and then we're going to go look at the D-Day beach together. So history is our passion.
Okay, inspirational?
Well, I'd like to think I've inspired a few people at the company. If you were there at the dinner, I had my management team there, and we've tried to be a force for change in our industry. We really have, and I'd like to think we've inspired our employees.
Well, obviously you're a leader, author, so it's what? Click it. Now, I have to remember the name of.
People have said the title of my book could have been better.
Well, no, it was good, but with all the commotion going on up in Wilton, who would have known? Okay, but watch this, listen up, click here.
Yes, I wrote a book. It was published just a little bit less than a year ago. And it's called Watch This, Listen Up, Click Here. And it's a book that describes how the media business, how the advertising companies and guys like me actually affect so much of what you and the rest of you watch and listen to and click. If you think about it, advertising's paying for a lot of stuff. Think about the web, right? I mean, the web is fundamentally free to the consumer from their perspective, and it's advertisers and companies and clients like mine that are paying the bill. So I wrote a book to try to demystify that for the common man. And it's a short read. You'll find it on Amazon.com. You can read it in about 4 or 5 hours. The whole chapter on magazines, 9 pages long.
All right. Well, is that because the magazines are all going to .com? How about the newspaper? It's at 3 pages?
No, I've just tried to keep it really simple, And actually, what's interesting about it is it's become a college textbook. Isn't that interesting? I never wrote it that. I really wrote it for your mom, And here it's become a college textbook at the University of Virginia and the University of Dublin, and it's been printed in Chinese, so I'm very excited about it.
All right, well, it's doing well. The word digital, though, let's throw that out. That's a big word for you, right?
Well, I just, I think where I got some notoriety in the advertising business is I started buying digital advertising agencies in the middle of the bust. So I started buying companies in the digital space in October of 2000, just as you may remember, if you can remember back that far. That's really when the market started to crash, and I was able to pick up a bunch of companies for 10 cents on the dollar, and that really kind of pioneered our company's move into digital. And since then, I'm really a technophile. I love what the digital media is going to allow us to do. You know where we're going? We're going to the point where you're only going to see commercials that you're interested in. You're going to put if you own a dog, you're going to get a dog food commercial. But if you don't, you're never going to see another dog food commercial in your life if you don't own a dog.
Yeah, it's a new way.
It is a new way.
Actually, our audience, now we've been doing it 10 years, video streaming content. So in essence, some people think we're like almost pioneers.
Yes, you are in your own way.
In our own way, because I'm a CBS, PBS TV guy for 36 years. I started 72, early days. And so I've gone up. So I made my TV station on the web. Okay, and in those days, maybe 15-20% of people could actually watch the show, and then as it has increased over the years, now we're up to 70+ penetration of video streaming. So
it's amazing.
It's really, and the good thing is it's the world, and in most cases it's inexpensive to get on and watch it, and it's given the world, thousands and millions more producers of content.
Absolutely, like we're doing right here. I had an interesting thing. You mentioned that you were with you worked with PBS, right?
Yes.
I actually gave a speech to the board of the Corporation for Public Broadcasting in San Francisco 2 days ago, and it's a really interesting time in media in America. If you think about it with PBS, right? I mean, PBS is really has to really think about its mission, right? Because if you think about PBS, the company you used to work for, kids programming. Well, they invented it, but it's now Nickelodeon and Disney Channel. If you think about cooking programming, it's really now on HGTV. If you think about nature programming, we have a whole network with Discovery Channel that's taken that. If you think about the news, McNeil-Lehrer Report, right? I mean, you have whole channels dedicated to the news. So it's a really interesting time in our country as you're really looking at media and beginning to think about the old. And really kind of looking at something like PBS and how does it modernize and where is it in today's kind of on-demand streaming environments. Fascinating stuff right now in the media business.
Well, we just last night, we were in Washington for the APEC, actually, which is the major Israeli lobbyist organization. So I was there, and
You saw those speeches?
I saw the speech. They're in the back. So we have Hillary Clinton, and we have Barack Obama and McCain, and the House, and everybody there. And but then we went to another event for Intra News, and they had a lot of people from Corporation Public Broadcasting. And as I was thinking more about public broadcasting, actually their website is one of the most popular websites. It does very well. And probably because, in essence, when even I was with PBS, I was there around 7 years, and I was with CBS, I started. So, not a lot of people watch public television. Yeah. It's important and wonderful, but I'm very happy to hear that their website is doing very well, because probably I didn't get the numbers, but it might be doing better than their shows.
Well, it is. The other thing that's very, very popular is NPR, right? National member, because the Corporation for Public Broadcasting has got radio, and it's got the Children's Television Workshop, Sesame Street, and a bunch of things in it. But even that's changing, right? If you think about satellite radio, right? 200 channels on radio now. I mean, so what I really love about what I do and what is that it's really a profound moment in the media business. There's change everywhere. If you think about the interview you and I are doing and the whole concept of, video streaming, you've been doing this for 10 years, but this is becoming, there's now broadband television networks. I'm on the board of a couple of them, and they use the computer as a distribution system to create a TV channel. So, anybody can create a TV channel today. It's really, in some ways, it's one of the most free times in the history of the press.
It is. I did a show on Newseum, and it had a digital area, the new museum down in Washington, and it talks from the old days to today to the digital age. Everybody's a producer. Everybody can become a producer, and I think that's good news.
The only other thing I would have you watch out for is one guy's opinion, but this is what I do for a living, right? If you think about it, the last 5 years, the dialogue, the energy, the excitement, the enthusiasm, the investment, so much of it has been on the web. has been on the web. Really, the internet's really been the focus of our attention, don't you think, for the last 5 years? And I'm telling you, I think the next 3 years, you're going to see a terrific amount of energy put into reinventing and really looking at television. Interactivity is coming to television, right? Within the next 36 months, in large portions of America, you're going to be watching a commercial on TV and going to be able to push a button and buy that product and have it charged your cable TV bill. So you're going to be buying a lot of chamois cloth and a lot of rotisserie ovens and a lot of George Foreman grills.
We have that already on our good news. Actually, that technology, that's true. You can interstitials. Okay, so I've been there for a bunch of years already.
It's amazing.
And so it's just the way it is. You see the iPod, you buy the iPod.
Absolutely.
So it's all good. I'm going to finish these. The beautiful thing, husband. I know that's a treasured thing to you.
Yes.
You're trustworthy. You're notable, resourceful, optimistic, persuasive, intelligent, savvy, team player. This is from your friends and colleagues at Aegis, AEGIS. What does that stand for?
Aegis is we're a British PLC. We're traded on the London Stock Exchange. We're about the 120th largest company in the UK, and Aegis kind of stands for overview, right? Kind of the Aegis, the kind of the overlooker. I don't know. I think they liked it mainly like Apple. It comes in high on the phone book.
Okay, and that's why I never could say those English words right. That's why I said Aegis.
Yes.
All right, it's always been tomato or tomato for me, and here's another example of it. Okay, all right, now with all this, you're not Jewish.
No, can you believe that? I mean, I said when they said you're going to be man of the year, I kind of stopped and I said kind of down as we got down into the discussion. I said, there's one thing though. I mean, is it okay that I'm not Jewish? And they said that was fine. And I, as I've said, I really share though a strong sense of faith. I really do. I mean, the UGAA. I went up and I visited a bunch of the UJA projects, and it moves me. I went to a lady's apartment, 76 years old, up in Queens, and where she really has got a place to live, provided by the efforts and generosity of the UJA. So I was touched. We share. I share a very, very strong sense of faith.
Well, I think that's by far why they selected you. I know the other gentleman, actually. I know Mike. I know David Sable. I know these guys 20 plus years. And everyone had tremendous things to say about you. And you do have in your pocket, you did mention the word prayer. And prayer, I happen to be an interfaith minister.
Oh, do you really?
Okay, even though I'm Jewish, but I believe in it all. It's all good as long as people keep their hands off each other. It's all good to pray. It's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. I mean, you saw them. I carry them in my pocket every day. I try to remind myself to pray every day and to try to show some love every day. And when you're a CEO of a company, and we're not a big company by Exxon standards, we've got 2,500 employees. I think that's pretty big, but we've tried to use the power we have to produce some good. And I feel particularly in the media business. You and I are both in the media business, and a lot of people are going to see this, and we could touch somebody's life here. And I know that we touch a lot of lives with what we do, because every time you see a Pfizer ad or a Pampers ad or a Papa John's pizza ad or a Reebok ad or a Phillips ad or a Adidas ad, I'm a guy, and our folks help put it there. So we can be a force for good just as well as I think we can be a force for kind of commercial interest. And frankly, when you combine those two things, you actually oftentimes make more money.
Well, I agree with you so much, and they're great companies, and they do good. All of those are great sustainable companies. They're great outreach into the community companies. You're dealing with, leading companies. When they have 10, 5, 7, 12,000, they're out there in the community. They have human resources. They're doing the walks for breast cancer. They're doing a million things. We love it. I have 1,000 corporations so far, probably on Good News, and they're with the good news, with the positive things that they're doing. A lot of times people say corporate America, CEOs, and all that kind of stuff. It's just like anything else. It might be one in a million. That's not such a honorable, I guess, or confused. Okay, let's put it that way.
Yeah. So, no, I agree with you. I think that there's been enormous amount of good. That you look at the guys that preceded me. Do you look at the list of the guys that preceded me on this honor for the UAJ is given?
We're interviewing him.
Impressive guy. You look at a guy like last year, Erwin Gottlieb, who won, who's the largest buyer of advertising time and space in the world. He runs a company called Group M. Irwin's really been a force in our industry, and so many of the things that you see on TV and many of the ways that media operate, I mean, he's really been a pioneer and a leader in helping create and using the power of his company to do. So I gotta know, I guess I feel media guys have a little bit of extra burden. You know what I mean?
I do. But it wasn't a bigger burden than those kids.
Oh, that was fun. No, they were having a good time. They were having a good time.
No, I know that. They
Plus,
said
they think this is going to be, they think you and I are doing the CBS Evening News tonight.
Well, that's what I told them. No, I was just kidding. Okay, so it's all
Good night, Katie.
And I just was with Walter Cronkite's producer, Sandy Sokolow, for the last many years.
Oh,
so it's all good stuff. So, all right. Good night, chat. No. All right, David, thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thanks so much. It was great to do the interview. Thanks so much for coming up to Connecticut and putting up with that horn and everything. I hope this was some decent video and some decent television for all of you that took the time to watch. Thank you so much for joining us, and for the UJA, thank you so much for the honor. I'm really quite moved by it. Thank you.